Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be drawing like characters that I've made like gods. So the first one is like the first one that I made, and I've talked about her before because as I was designing her, she I put her in a video, and she's a mermaid, and I was drawing her during Mermaid, and I was like, I like this, and it's a very unique character design, so I went with it. So I fleshed out a little bit more of her character design. I did this kind of supposed to be, the hands gave me the worst amount of trouble because I'm really bad at drawing hands. Part of me is just like, I'm gonna stylize them away and never actually learn to draw hands because it's so annoying. But I was like, no, you have to learn how to draw hands no matter what. Kind of what you're supposed to do. So I gave her like this fishing spear as a weapon because I was like, she needs a weapon, and I thought it kind of fit the way she was. And originally she had like eels for hair, but that seemed very complicated, so I gave her braids. I really just didn't want to draw the heads. Here I am like adjusting everything, and then it's time for the liner, and I'm just going in with the 6B pencil like I normally do, and I just want to keep everything pretty clean because I was wanting to do the finished illustrations. I had a lot of trouble with the hair because I'm bad at drawing regular hair, never mind braids, never mind small tiny braids. That's why I never really do complex hairstyles, but I was like, I'm gonna push myself this time. But yeah, one of the reasons why I decided not to do finished illustrations was because the more I did them, the more I was like, this really doesn't fit into my style anymore. Like, I don't really do finished illustrations anymore, and when I do like actually draw them, they don't look like I drew them. They don't look right. They look like, no art is bad, but it's my art, so I can call it bad. It's bad. Yeah, I don't like doing, it just doesn't look like my style. And also, if you're gonna do a finished illustration, I feel like you gotta make sure everything looks perfect, and I'm not that good yet, so I like things being a little bit more sketchy. So she's like a water goddess, obviously. She doesn't normally have kids, but I created her because two of the main characters and their storylines, they're her sons, and they're like her only children. She doesn't really have kids. I haven't decided exactly what like type of goddess she is, but she's like a water goddess, and I was thinking about her being like a go with the flow, but also like a very wise goddess, and like very into like the wisdom and memories and of like water, and being like, I don't know how to really capture it, but she's like the goddess of wisdom and water and like and that type of thing, and specifically like ocean battles. I think that would be very much her kind of thing. So I tried to make her a little bit more muscular, gave her a weapon. She originally had like a bunch of like bioluminescent stuff on her because I first drew her for the bioluminescent mermaid prompt, I think it was. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that. And so that's what I originally drew her for, and I was like, she has a lot of them, but then I just put it down as like just under her eyes, just to make it a little bit more simple. So yeah, I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy the line art for a little bit, because this video is a long video. I ended up changing her ears. It was actually originally like this, and then I accidentally did human ears, and I was like, no, that's not right. You gotta fix that. So I did, and now they're unique little fin ear thingies. I wish I could have made her a little bit more monster-like, instead of more mermaid human-like, but I did give her unique eyes, so that works. I ended up redrawing this hand multiple times, as you can tell, and I think I got it okay, but could have been better, but I think I got it acceptable, you could say. And then I also like redid that little string thingy because it didn't really look right and I wanted it to look right. You want everything to look right, you know? Everything to be absolutely perfect. Everything to line up. And then I thought I was doing liner again and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that again. So I added in the little circles under her eyes. And then I added in her crown because she's like the queen of the sea or whatever. I don't know. And then I went on to the coloring. And I'm gonna skip like the base colors, just putting things in because that's boring and it takes up a lot of time and this video is already a long time. So when I was shading it, I wanted to I always do this harsh light to one side, but it's like perfect for making things look interesting and like showing off the forms of the face and like showing that everything's a little bit more 3D. So I feel like I should like branch out, but it's like the 3/4 view, you know? It's easy enough and it makes things look cool. So yeah. I was just kind of looking around seeing how exactly I wanted to shade it and then going from there because I wasn't sure like specifically for the tail. I didn't know how I wanted to shade the tail. I wanted it to be textured and look like scales, but also I was impatient because I wanted to feel accomplished, like I'd done something with my life. So I went in with the highlights to further emphasize like the different forms of the face and the different forms of like just everything in the picture, you know, just like shading and rendering normally does. The skin, I decided to do it like a dark blue just because I thought it looked cool, like a little bit more unique. And then for the shading of the tail and like the textured scaly parts, I used a textured brush and like did it in circly motions after blended that out and then like blended circly motions into it. And then I used like a brush to actually draw circular motions to like show scales. I thought that was a genius idea that I learned during Mermaid that I thought would look pretty cool. And then I did basically the same thing just with highlights to the tail, make it look all shiny. Then I colored in the little thingy off the spear and then yeah, I added in the background. I wanted to make her underwater, so I just kind of did like a darker-ish blue and then did add glow and then added blue down and then multiply blue up to make it look like the light was shining down into the water and like streams and stuff. And then I wanted to add a little bit more of a background, so I just like did these silhouettes in dark blue to emphasize rocks and then I like carved them out to make them more look like rocks. And then I did some in the background and like the middle ground and then some in the foreground too, so that it would like look cool. Anyway, so that's my picture. And let's move on to the next one. So the next one I actually haven't shown anywhere yet because I just came up with him and this is why I wanted to make this video. He's called the Broken God, and I think he's the coolest. He wasn't always a god, he's one of those like people who like become, they're mortal and they become gods. So I wasn't sure exactly what inspired his design, just green. And then I wanted to do something pretty unique. So yeah, so I'll tell you a story. So he has like powers. I don't know how to explain it, but he's not like overpowered. Well, he is now that he's a god. But when he was a human, he wasn't like super powerful, but he was like powerful for like his world, you know. But there are like six people in his group. Him, the person who has like fire powers, water powers, earth power, air power, and then mind power. And then someone from like a different world kind of invades. I haven't figured out what yet, but like they're like taking him down, but then they like don't and they lose. And then his like lover gets poisoned, and he's like no, because he's the type of person where like, you know, actually I may be a hero, but like I'd rather be happy with the person that I love. So that's what I was kind of going with for him. And I think you can tell this is the character that I like the most out of all of them, probably because he's the newest character and the one that I've been like thinking about the most recently. So she's like in trouble and she's gonna die. So I found his name of Vitan. He makes a deal with the enemy to like give him the power to heal her in exchange for not fighting them anymore. And so he makes this deal, but by the time he gets back to her, and basically the power that he's given is basically the power of life. So he's like the god of life now. And now that he has the power of life, he can go heal her and like give her life. But he can't like bring her back to life. He can like give her more life so that she can survive, because he's not a god yet. He's like he just has the power of one. But by the time he gets back there, she's already dead, and he's like, no, but like he can't fight because number one, he's like completely devastated. Number two, he like made an oath not to fight in exchange for the ability to like save her, and it's really sad. And yeah, and then so eventually he like gets immortality because of his life. His life kind of gives him immortality, and now that he has immortality, his powers continue to grow, and he becomes a god basically. And because the others are connected to him in a certain type of way through their power, he also gives them immortality, and their powers are also heightened, so they become like gods. You have the god of fire, earth, air, water, and mind now, and they go together, and they like through extension, they're like, if he's not gonna fight, like we're not gonna be able to fight without him, so they're like, we might as well not die and like do our best to get him to be able to fight, because we can't do this without him. And so they like create this world, and this world like, and they somehow manage to convince him to give them life for this world. And then eventually somehow there's like a bunch of different like things that I haven't completely figured out because I'm still like fleshing them out, but like all the other people in his group end up captured, because they'll like continue to like rebel and fight in certain ways, but he won't, because he made the oath. It's like they'll fight in their own little ways, but he won't, and so he's not captured, but they are. And so it's like this whole thing, and so everyone in the world that they created is more like a simulation of the world, and they're like, well, life isn't fair in our world, so we're gonna make life fair in this new world. We're gonna like make it so the rule so is that good always wins, and like do all these things that we wish we had in our world. I don't know if I'm like making a whole lot of sense, but that's kind of the vibe. I try to make him like very like, nobody knows his face. He's the broken god. Nobody ever sees him. He is just like, here's the gift of life, because like the people who created you are my friends, and like bye, I'm opting out. And then eventually somehow they're gonna like manage to fix that. Anyway, on to the next one. That one a little bit long. I didn't get to talk about the art at all, but this next one you guys have seen before because I posted it on my shorts and on my TikTok. I asked you guys what you thought it would be so that I would get, but for now I basically sketched the same way that I did before. He has this cool mask that I really like that I was trying to figure out. It took so long to figure out how his mask actually worked, but I managed to get it somehow. But okay, somebody said something about like an Egyptian type character, and I told that person like, you're very, very close, because this is actually based on like Greek mythology, and vaguely. So this is, I also don't have a name for him, which is really, really sad. I really need to name these characters. But he's the son of the mermaid character in the beginning, and he's kind of based off of Greek mythology. So his entire character is basically kind of like the river Styx. So you make an oath on the river Styx, and like you have to, or at least in Percy Jackson, I don't know, it's kind of inspired by a bunch of different things, but basically there's something similar in his world, and he's the person that like, if you break the oath, he'll come after you. He's the one that comes after you. So I skipped the base colors again. I wanted him to really be like gold and dark and like more of a warrior type, because he like basically brings on your doom. Like most of the time he kills the people that break the oaths. So he can't hurt anyone who hasn't broken an oath. But lucky for him, most people have actually broken an oath or some sort of thing. So he goes after those people, but because so many people have broken oaths, he usually just picks the most important ones, or the ones that are specifically on, like, for example, I haven't figured out exactly what it is, but for example, it would be the river Styx. If you make an oath on the river Styx, he'll come after you. But he could also argue, if he really didn't like you, he could also argue, yo, you broke this oath when you were 5, F you. Technically, he does have that power. Basically means he can like kill anyone he wants, but that's a lot of people, so mainly just sticks to what he is, and that's like a loophole that only he knows. Like the other gods in the universe don't know, because he kind of keeps it to himself, because it's more fun that way if you can just pull something out of your be like, I'm pulling this out of my ass. And then they're like, no, you can't do that. I don't know, it's just a funny thing to me. I think that would be really funny. He's very powerful. He was mainly put under this, like, you could only do this because he's an extremely powerful magic user, and that was the only way they could stop him from like just doing anything he wants, because he can only go after people who have broken oaths. He can't like do anything else. Basically, he can't do anything else, and only things that would help him in that quest, which basically means it's like a safeguard. So like he can't go after other gods who, I mean, unless they've broken an oath, he can't go after other gods, and that's like their safeguard for him. Anyway, I really like his character design. Let me know what you guys think of these characters, and have a good day. Comment, like, subscribe. Have a good one.